Yeah, have him try to, if you're in chat with him, have him go ahead and try to call in. And I'll see if he's actually...
Let's see. I know she was gonna call into the one line, and I was calling into two because I didn't know.
Okay,
if
so
we could
I'll
both
see
be
if I
on
can
it.
add her. Hang on.
All right, cool.
What's her name, Erica?
Yep, Erica Bokey.
Okay, there we go.
Hi.
Yeah, I know Erica's up. Have you guys got video by chance? Oh, Erica's is
We do.
loading.
Can you? Oh, it's. Let me actually start video. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. So now I got to move the camera. So Bruce, I'm going to come over there and...
Sure.
So give me a second. Repositioning here.
Mm-hmm. Careful. Oh, that's how you're going to do that. I'm just going to put her up like that. What time is it where you guys are?
It is
We're
11:30
both in
p.m.
Eastern
Eastern.
Standard Time.
Oh, okay. Well, you look very chipper for this time of night.
We are chipper all
A lot
the
of
time.
caffeine. How are you holding up?
Well, it's only 6:30 in the evening here in Hawaii, so...
I know, but you've been on the air for a while.
No, I'm not Todd. I just sound like a nasal like him.
Oh, wait, now there's Todd.
There's Todd.
Hey, Bruce, can you do me a favor and grab that camera and move it just a little bit towards... Go that way with it. There you go. That's all you need to do. Come back a little bit more. Come back, come back. There we go. That's good. Hi, ladies. Can you guys hear me?
Hello, Todd. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let me, I got one last recording to start. Okay, everyone, welcome to... Oh, did I stop? Oh, I deleted something. Hang on. Okay, we'll start the recording again. All right, everyone, we are in hour 12 and a half of the 24-hour podcast. And we've got the gals on from the GameOn Podcast. And what intrigued me about having these two ladies on tonight, guys are the ones typically doing sports. What's the story? You know, come on. Well, in all honesty,
That's such a misconception, Todd.
well, maybe it's right.
Hey, Todd. Wait, can you hear us? Okay.
The volume is let's see here. Let me see who I'm having trouble hearing. Go ahead, each of you just do a...
I'm testing. Hello.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay. Top screen is
This
good.
Melissa. Can you hear me okay?
Top screen is good. Bottom
Oh, my.
bottom screen is a little oversaturated.
Oh.
Okay, so let me see what I can do with that.
You're just trying to change the subject, Todd.
No, not at all. I'm willing to face up to my accusers or whatever it may be here.
Oh no, we're friendly gals.
Say, it's funny you should say that guys are usually the ones doing the sports podcast, because that's precisely why we started. Personally, I have been a sports fan my whole life, and I was, tuning into my Sunday pregame show before a big game. I'm a big Steeler fan. Anyone who listens to the podcast knows that. And I felt like there were these huge, hulking former athletes speaking this foreign language, and they certainly were not speaking to me. So I kind of said, there's not really a voice out there for women who love sports. There's not really a voice out there for women who don't want to memorize stats, who maybe want to talk about the pop culture aspect of sports and the kind of drama on the field and off the field. So that's why I kind of set out, and I actually wrote a book called Game Face. Do you like my shameless promotion in the back? I figured, Todd, if you have your signage, I would bring my very own signage. But
this show is all about self-promotion and being shameless. So don't feel bad for being shameless. Go ahead.
We are nothing if we are not
I
shameless,
started
Todd.
wanting to. Oh, sorry. That's how I wanted to get the kind of female voice out there for women who love sports, but not necessarily stats. But Melissa came about it in a very different way, so I want her to share her side of the story.
Okay, before we continue on, I think I'm sorry. Top screen is. I'm sorry. Your first
Erica.
name. I'm sorry.
Erica.
Erica. I think your mic needs to come up a little bit too, because we're getting almost a little Cylon on you here. So, okay, Melissa, go ahead.
Okay, first, do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound good. You're both a little tinny, but I'll work on that. Go ahead.
All right. So my story is a little different, and I was sort of actually, you spoke with Jay Soderberg earlier in the evening. He is the producer from the Fantasy Focus
Yep.
over at ESPN.
Yep.
Okay, so they actually, Nate and Matthew, the hosts of the Fantasy Focus, are actually my so-called podfathers, and the reason they've been dubbed that nickname is because I was sort of placed on this podcasting journey through them. I was a member of a fantasy football league that they sort of do through their podcast on an annual basis, and Jay picked me up out of that league, just kind of plucked me out and put me on air and gave me a show at ESPN.
Cool.
So I started over there, not really ever doing any podcasting before. The only podcast I really listened to was the Fantasy Focus, and through that show I met Erica, and so I have since left ESPN. I brought the show to her, and together we formed the GameOn podcast.
So, do you guys talk everything sports? Is that the show motif?
With a
Yeah,
healthy
we
dose
talk,
healthy dose of Kardashian updates and pop culture, which we have a lot. Luckily for us, sports fuses with pop culture so easily that we can, satisfy our thirst for sports and our thirst for, the guilty pleasures
Got to
known
beat this.
as. Yes.
We talk. We sort of say that we talk sports, we talk pop culture, and we also feature a weekly guest every
Cool.
week. So we're a weekly podcast, by the way, with dreams of having the funding that we can go on a daily basis one day soon. But
So
we
what
have
is?
a weekly guest. We've been very.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you cut out on me. You were asking.
Well,
a question.
I was going to ask. I said, so you do a weekly podcast. So is it actually? What is the actual domain of your podcast, or where can people find it?
We are at
Erica, you could put it over your shoulder,
GoGameFace.com.
like Vanna.
One at a time. Okay, GNC Pod 1, go first, and then we'll, because you both were talking
Thank
over
you.
each
It's
other.
Erica. I'm
Erica.
having like a delay, so I'm trying not to be rude. It's you can find us at GoGameFace.com.
Okay.
And we also, Melissa has a regular column on fantasy football. I kind of, wax poetic about whatever strikes me that day. So we also blog as well as have our weekly podcast.
Okay, very cool. And I'm sorry, after about 12 hours, I get punchy with names, so just slap me over the head when I mess it up again. So
You can call us 1 and 2 if that helps.
we'll try Erica and Melissa. We'll try to do it right. So,
All right.
did you watch the? Were you actually able to watch the award stream tonight, or were you one of the 500 that didn't get to see the video?
I watched it. I watched it live.
Okay, good. And
I did not see the video. I heard a bit of you talking about it though. So we're psyched about our friends over at Fantasy. Matthew and Jay. We're very excited for them.
And I took a lot of grief for that show actually, the number of ESPN shows making the sports list. I probably got the most hate email that I've ever gotten at the award ceremony, basically saying that it wasn't fair that they were nominated. But at the same point, they do a show. It's being distributed via a podcast, and we don't discriminate between, and then I don't think they're really mainstream media. They're, these guys are some guys that do a show, and I don't know how much ESPN pays them or if it's a sponsorship deal, but or a revenue share, but they worked hard to get a big audience, so it is what it is. But
They do a good job. They're fun people. They both are fantasy analysts, and the show's a daily show. They're really funny. They do a great job of incorporating their listeners. I'm obviously have tons of thanks to pay towards them for sort of putting me on the path, and I'm finally doing something that I'm as passionate about as I've ever been about something before. So, hey, kudos to them. Matthew was a guest on our show earlier this year, so we had a lot of fun when we spoke with him. Jay, ironically, was a guest this week. He's our guest. If you go to our website today,
Oh.
you can see him this week or listen to him this week.
a great person
So,
to have on this week.
They're good friends of our show.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Actually, I got an email from
Yeah, and
him
you know
right
what?
after he spoke with you.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, too.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm getting a delay also, so I kind of like hear the silence and then I start talking, and so I apologize for if I'm talking over anyone. But I did get an email from Jay after he, accepted his award, and he said that he will forever call himself now award-winning producer Jay Soderbergh. So
Well,
he's very proud and honored to have won this tonight.
Well, that's good. If you both have your streams on, make sure you turn your stream video down. I don't know but the Skype call should be pretty live, should be pretty much on tap. So I don't know if that's where we're you guys are getting a little behind on the actual delay. It shouldn't be a delay on Skype, I wouldn't think. But so where are you two located at? Are you guys are you in the lower 48?
I am in New York City, and Melissa is in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and she usually gives out a little cat call to her team out there. Go ahead, Melissa.
Spartans?
Go Blue! We love you, Michigan.
No way.
No, Todd.
Oh no. I grew up.
Oh, you were doing so well.
I grew up in Michigan. I'm sorry. I'm a country boy. I have to go. Have to go with my sister's alma mater, Michigan State, Spartans all the way. Sorry.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts, but that's okay. Friends can be rivals. I'm married to a Red Sox fan, and I'm a Yankee fan, so I can do it with him. I can do it with you.
We sure can't vote or cheer for the Tigers or the Lions. Of course, maybe give the Lions a few years. Maybe they'll do something. But gosh, what a sad existence those teams have been lately.
Pathetic.
And I'm going to have hate mail from Lions fans.
No, I gotta tell you,
I think
I'm
the
sure the Lions will
fans
get the Steelers very soon. I'm a Steeler fan, and it's been a rough season for me.
Go Finns.
No,
we don't normally talk over each other. I think it's the lack of being able to hear each other at the moment.
Oh, you can't hear? You guys can't hear each other?
No.
Well, there's still a delay.
Oh, that's weird. There shouldn't be a delay. That's the first time that's happened tonight. Well, that's odd. Well, anyway, you want to hear something even more shocking? Is in Hawaii is famous for being a 12-step plan for sports fans, because we have no really team to root for except for UH and the Warriors for a college team.
We have high school.
And we got high school stuff, yeah. And when I lived overseas in Guam, I was a big sports fan, and this is dating me 20 years ago. When I was living in Guam, there was no live TV. Everything was on a 1-week tape delay. So you would go into the office and say, "Don't tell me the sports scores. Don't say nothing." By about Tuesday, you would have heard the sports scores,
Right.
and you're just like, okay, why should I watch a football game or the baseball game or you just didn't watch. And that was a 12-step plan for me to really. I don't watch sports. I watch the Super Bowl maybe, but that's it. I know you're sitting there going, how can you not watch sports? You're a guy.
Well, and Hawaii, we have a sportscaster, a woman sportscaster. She's, I think, one of the top sportscasters here.
Yeah.
Liz Chung.
Yeah.
We always have the Pro Bowl, right?
Well, they took that away from us this year.
Right.
Yeah, that's somewhere else.
That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, so we'll see if that comes back. I think it's probably be. I'm not holding my breath. I doubt it. The Pro Bowl was looking to get out of Hawaii. So
We had the Islanders a couple
no
years
one
ago.
watches it anyway.
yeah. Well, it's a good game for us to go to. That's as close as we get to pro football here in Hawaii, unless we want to watch the UH get squashed in some of their games. But I'm going to have my house firebombed, I'm sure, before the show's over. But
I know.
so,
Hey, at least you get publicity out of that, though, right?
well, that's true. Absolutely. Any news is good news, right?
Right.
So, how long have you guys been doing your show then on your own?
Erica.
Go ahead. Well, we started off this fall, I believe, or actually late summer we started, and we've been doing it weekly, and we've gotten such an amazing array of guests. I mean, we'll go from, we've gotten a lot of Olympic athletes who are really excited about the upcoming Olympics. And then Melissa invites her favorite TV show performers to be on the show. And then I used to work at Gourmet Magazine, so I have this she's expert on. So it really runs the gamut, and we are like every week is a new adventure for us. Melissa, who was that TV person you had on?
Shrey Agdashlu, who, oh, come on, not just a TV person. Shrey is
sorry,
a
she's
Oscar-nominated Emmy Award winner. So we had Shrey on. Of course, this is our one exception. We absolutely spoke no sports whatsoever, none. But Shrey's an Oscar-nominated Emmy Award winner, and she is now currently starring in Flash Forward, which if you're not watching, you need to start watching. It's one of the best shows on TV, and I actually wrote a fantasy football column about it earlier this season, so that's what kind of allowed me to bring her in, because a lot of my readers and fans of the show watch Flash Forward, so we were able to sort of justify it in that way.
Well, one thing I must say is you two both have the energy to be doing a sports show, because if you're doing a sports show, you have to be like, you're almost like at the game cheering. You almost have to be that way.
Yeah.
And you both have definitely the to do that. So I can see how your show is going to grow well. It's going to grow big. So.
Oh, well, thank
We
you.
are
Definitely
having
have
a lot
energy
of
and
fun
a lot
with
of passion.
And it also helps. Go ahead.
And then they stop at the center.
Oh,
Oops.
well, we lost
no.
Melissa. What happened?
Number 2 is gone. Well, that means I can get a word in edgewise here, for goodness sake. I'm just kidding. No, we are very passionate about our teams, about our rivalries. So we have a lot of fun every week, and we don't hold back ever. So.
Oh, that's good. I think that's important, and I'm sure that there's a lot of ladies out there that are looking for a woman's voice to basically, tell them how it is in the sports and throw that little feminine side in as well as kind of the stuff that ladies like to pay attention to. I think it's a good formula, So just have fun. I think that's the main thing. I keep telling all podcasters, I have a friend of mine who is not having fun right now. He's making money with the show, but it's become too much work. And I said, just scale back a little bit. If it's not being fun, you got to change things up and have a good time. Because, the quickest way to a heart attack is to be stressed out and not have fun.
Right. I have to say, I'm having as much fun with this as I've had with anything in my life. So it's been a blast from, the whole producing aspect. Well, I guess, the booking of the guests, the organizing the show aspect to actually just doing the show when we're on. So it's been a blast. And I hope we have the chance to keep doing it for a long time.
So when you two do your show, how do you guys actually, is it audio only at this point, or do you have the video component, or how are you guys actually doing that?
It's audio only now, but since we're having so much fun with you, Todd, we might as well try to figure out this Skype situation and try to get video going as soon as possible.
The key to doing
video.
The key to doing Skype well.
Go ahead, Todd.
The key to doing Skype well is to patch your computer into a mixer, and if you guys want some hints on how to do that right, I'll let you know. But I can actually do Skype calls right on this mic right here. I can actually do an actual Skype call and actually go through my pro mic, and that really helps the level. You can set the levels. You can keep the noise level down because you can run it through some gear. But it's not really that complicated, especially if you're just doing Skype to Skype stuff. And there's some great products out there. You can use, let's see, if you're on a 2-person shoot, how would you do that? There's some options out there. I've never done 2 people on a, one person would have to be in control, like this. So one person would call in. What I've built, what you guys are actually on here is what Leo Laporte put together. Actually, one of his staff members did, and it's a half a Skypeosaurus. If you go out there and Google Skypesaurus, S-A-U-R-U-S, yeah, I'm going to spell it wrong. It's right on the bottom of the doggone screen. S-A-U-R-U-S is what it is. And you find that. I'm actually calling mine the Ohanasaurus. So beyond having guests and talking about oddball stuff, then do you guys have a general format that you follow in the show? Do you cover sports scores? Do you cover the sports of the day? What should people expect when they listen to the show?
We start off every show. We sort of have an intro. We try to. I'm sure you can tell Eric and I are both very loquacious, outgoing individuals, so it's hard to sort of stay away from our personal life. So we kind of, we'll talk about what's going on in our lives, and then we'll jump into the hot topics of the day. So we are all over the Tiger Mania, that's been going on the last week or two. We've been all over that. We've got an In Touch correspondent that, comes on our show whenever we have hot gossipy information. So we'll always kind of tackle that at the top of the show. Then we'll jump into maybe more matchups, especially now that we're heading into the NFL playoffs, the big matchups of the day. Maybe we'll bet on a game or two, and then we'll jump into our guest. And we like to spend a good 15, 20 minutes with whoever we are featuring that week. But sometimes we're fortunate enough to have two guests, which I'll let Erica tell you about our upcoming show before we go, because we do have two guests this week, in which case that usually takes up a good, 70% of the show. So we spend about 20, 25 minutes on guests each week.
Can I ask you a question before we get into that topic? Let's talk about Tiger for just a second.
Yeah.
I've been kind of not watching news.
Todd.
Man, it's getting crazy.
I haven't had time because I've been slammed this week.
Yeah.
But I actually heard that he said he is leaving golf indefinitely.
Yep.
Is that true?
Yep. It is.
No way.
Yep.
This is the most bizarre story, I think, in a really long time.
Well, he got busted.
Yeah, there's as many as 11 women who have come out right now who have said that they have had relations with him.
Player.
He is,
Including
he's a player,
waitress,
baby.
which I still can't get over the Perkins waitress.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Are they at least all dead drop gorgeous, or is it the full mix?
Well,
Most of them are,
that's
except for that
the
Perkins
thing. There's
waitress.
I think there's a theme on them. I think they're all kind of similar looking. Don't you?
I had seen the pictures I had
Except one.
initially saw was the theme was a lot of that.
Yeah, big boobs. Yeah.
A lot of that, yes.
Yeah, we don't get offended. Don't worry.
Well, one is a porn star.
Huh?
Yeah, one is a
Yeah,
porn
yeah.
star. Yeah.
And a fairly infamous one, I believe.
If you're gonna go, if you're gonna go, you might as well go large. Why did this guy ever get married?
Apparently, that was an issue at the beginning. They were good. They even discussed it. She even knew that he was a little bit, crazy, a party animal. This was a thing that was going on that a lot of people didn't see.
Well, a lot of people say in the news now that this was kind of known, but because he was who he was,
Right.
and he brought so much money to the game of golf, that basically people said no way. But I bet you she chased him out of the house with the what was it, a 3-iron or whatever it was, and I bet you she bashed that window in, and he tried to get out of there, and
He was also pretty messed up on drugs too. Come on.
well, that's alleged.
Yeah,
for
No,
Maybe
it's the
maybe
medical
they were having
records.
ambient sex or something.
yeah. Am I
I
doing
need
pretty
to
good?
explore this ambient sex. All ambient does to me is put me to sleep, so I need to obviously change my dosage or something.
Oh man, it is what it is. But and the thing is, I bet his wife gave him an ultimatum. I said, either you quit playing golf, and where I can keep control of you, or I'm out of here.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
right.
well,
Although, I
he's-
don't know. It remains to be seen whether she's going to stay with him or not. I mean, I don't know. It's a brutal. You can put up with one or maybe two, but 11 is really hard
How
to
could she not
Oh,
have-
is that the
reconcile.
threshold for women now? One or two? I need
No,
to
if in my household, oh man, my stuff would be in the yard on fire.
Me too.
On fire.
It's one
I
of my
mean,
major motivations
there
for
would-
not doing it.
But did you have
Well,
the
it's a
conversation before you got
business.
married that, listen, here's how it's going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All my stuff would be in the yard on fire.
No, I don't think
Look,
Todd had that conversation.
My wife's Japanese, and my wife says men will do what they do. She says, because in Japan there is it's not allowed, it's not expected, but it happens. And basically the conversation was, do what you do. If I ever catch you, you're done. But in this day and age, the internet, a guy has to be completely insane and out of their mind to even think remotely that they can do something, even if they wanted to, and get away with it. Google my name. First of all, I wouldn't. But people need to think this is the internet age. No one can get away with nothing. And if you try to get away with it, then guess what you're going to do? Get your checkbook out. And that's probably what Tiger's had to do, is get his checkbook out.
Well, that obviously hasn't worked or helped.
Oh, it's...
Well, they are currently negotiating the prenup right now, renegotiating the prenup.
Right.
That's where they stand. So that I think is why she hasn't come out as to what she's doing, because he keeps throwing dollars at her because
she had a prenup, though. They did.
Yeah, they had a prenup.
Wow.
I travel.
They did. The details of it are unknown.
Yeah. I travel a lot. I do. I travel a lot, but boy, oh boy, there would be no way I would even fathom.
Well, I think she's pretty smart to be renegotiating.
Well, yeah.
Okay, this prenup wasn't good enough. Now we have to renegotiate a new and make a better deal.
And then there's no guarantees that she's going to stay. Who knows, Or maybe there's some clause in there. You screw around again, I'm gone. Psh.
Well, she did buy a $2 million home with her twin sister in Sweden. Recently, so.
Wow. But
$2 million home in Sweden. She's got her twin sisters. The twin sister.
Ladies, don't take this wrong. Are you both married or both single?
Well, one's married.
I'm married.
Okay. You don't tell me that your man is coming home from a trip. Come on. The phone's ringing. You're taking private messages. My cell phone lays out wherever it can be found.
Yeah.
It just, we don't look at each other's cell phones. We trust each other. But if my cell phone's ringing and I'm not here, she answers it.
I share my cell phone with my wife.
Well, he had a second cell phone. So he had this whole private, this whole secondary personality that supposedly she didn't know about. But I think
most women know their men well enough, and they will know if something's up. And if they don't,
I agree.
I'd come home, honey, did you do something with someone? I'd be like, if I did, my face would be like guilty, because there would be no way she would say, oh, you're done,
Yeah.
God, I would not make a good poker player. She's always told me, you wouldn't be a good poker player.
Well, Erica wrote a book, and our first chapter covers.
Yeah.
We're both talking again.
Oh, anyway, go ahead we're almost at the top of the hour. Go ahead and give me your plug for your next show and what's going on.
Oh, good. Well, it kind of relates to the Tiger story. We actually have a woman, Heidi Duro, coming on the show. She, at the beginning of, the NBA season and the NFL season, these rookie players get trained on how to deal with the media, how to deal with women throwing themselves at them,
how
to deal with your family members coming after you for money. So this particular woman, she's an actress in these skits for the NBA and the NFL, and she acts in the role of the baby mama, in the role of a woman at the club trying to suss out whether you're a pro player. So she has a lot of experience dealing with players directly, and I think we're going to have a lively conversation with her.
I bet you are.
And Melissa, how about our other guest too?
So we're also leading up to the Olympics. We're going to kind of seize upon some of our previous guests and some of the connections we've made, and we hope to have what we're going to call an Olympic series. And leading up to the Olympics, every week we're going to feature an Olympian, and we have Ellery. Erica, remind me her last name. She's a snowboarder.
Hollinsworth. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ellery Hollinsworth.
So she's going to be our first. And she'll be featured hopefully next week in our very first Olympic Series Game On. That's going to be a second show of the week. So we're going to be doing that leading up to the Olympics. And after the holidays, we're going to jump back on that train and do it again every week. And if we have enough athletes, maybe we'll be fortunate enough to do two extra shows.
Oh, very, very cool. So they can find you at the GameOnPodcast.com, or is it just GameOnPodcast.com?
It's GoGameface.com.
Oh, GoGameface.
And they can find us on iTunes. Yep.
All right, send me an email with that link so I have it right in the show notes later.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right, we will. We definitely will. And Todd, thank you so much. We'd love to talk more to you guys. You guys have been so great, and we really appreciate the opportunity, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, it's been fun having you on. I tell you, it's better than talking to some of the guys today. It's been nice to hear a nice lady's voice talk, and you two are very energetic, and it's fun, how did you guys stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning? That's cool. I appreciate that for staying up late. And yes, hang out and just watch the show. I'm sure it'll be entertaining the rest of the evening. especially as it gets later and I start getting more punchy. It's about Red Bull time, though.
Yeah, better have one. Another Red
Yeah,
Bull.
it's just
Should
about
we get you
time.
Red Bull?
Yeah, because the thing is, Red Bulls. Once you start drinking Red Bulls, you got to continue to drink them because when you crash, you go up way high, and when you start coming down, ooh, it's ugly. So.
Yeah, it's a steep flight down. Well, good luck, and we'll be watching.
Okay.
And thanks again. We'll talk soon.
All right. Aloha. Take care, and thanks for coming on.
It was fun, Todd. Thanks so much.
You're
Good luck
welcome.
the rest of the way.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, that was cool. I didn't know how that was going to work out with having them on. But I tell you what, it's nice to have the ladies on. They were great. Lots of energy. It's been, I'm up here right now.
Yeah, they brought us right back up here.
Yeah, it was good. It really was. So everyone on the on chat, what did you guys think? And I know we've got some people on. Let's see how the Ustream thing is doing. Let me unmute everyone on Ustream. And, we got someone calling in. Who's this? So we got Dodd. Dodd, are you my next guest by chance?
Well, I would love. I don't think I'm scheduled, but I would love to be.
I've actually got someone scheduled, but we'll see. We'll see who comes in. What do you do, Dodd?
Well, I actually was just calling to thank you for the book. I started podcasting in 2005, and I discovered your book through Don and Drew. I contributed to their show when they got started, and started doing a magic podcast. And we have several thousand listeners to every one of our episodes, and partly because of your book. And I love your microphone. Blue Mic is one of our sponsors.
Oh, great! I tell you, I haven't heard from Don and Drew in a while. What's going on with them?
They are down in Costa Rica. They have rented a house in Costa Rica. They moved down there just a few days ago, almost a week ago now. They'll be there until winter's over, and they'll move back to Wisconsin. But they've got a lot of their listeners paying to come visit them down in the island, and they've got a little compound going for the next 3 months.
So they're still doing their show, and they're still going strong then?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm launching another podcast about podcasting, and they were the first guests because they were the first ones that made me realize that it was citizen journalism in a way, that anyone could.
Oh.
Oops. Oh, man.
Oh, I just accidentally hung up on him.
That was interesting.
Yeah, let me call him back. Hey, my bust. I accidentally hung up on you.
No problem. I probably got a terrible connection. I was trying to call in early. I'm calling from my iPhone, actually.
Oh, sounds great.
Yeah,
you sound better than other people.
Sounds great.
Oh, really? That's hysterical. No, I was saying that I listened to, I was a big Leo Laporte fan when he was on Tech TV, much like you were, and rediscovered him on the first episode of the Tech, of Twit, which was RSS, obviously, Return of the Screensavers or Revenge of the Screensavers. And he mentioned Don and Drew.
Yeah.
And listening to their show made me realize it was something for people that anyone could do. It wasn't strictly for someone that was, from a radio background. And I started contributing to their show, and then started podcasting about late 2005, and picked up your book, and certainly was a big help. But love the Blue Mic. I saw the mic, the mouse there, and I had to give you a buzz about that. Yeah,
the folks at Blue Mic have been great. We're going to actually start doing some additional stuff with them during during CES, and they've been a great support of the Podcast Awards the last 2 years. And I traded this. I've got a bunch of relics. Well, not relics, but you see all those mics I got up there.
God.
Yeah,
I've got a Heil PR40 up there that I don't use anymore. And everyone complained that it didn't sound good with my voice. And I've got a Rode NTK up there, which is nice. So far, the size and the sound of this mic is great. I cannot use a non-condenser mic. I hate using like a Rode or what is that one big mic that all the broadcasters use?
RE20.
Yeah, I
That's
can't.
what I use.
Yeah. It just doesn't sound with my
big enough, yeah.
Yeah, and I have to crank the gains on the thing.
Yeah,
I've got a nice
that's what
tube amp up there for this, so.
Yeah, I work it with. See, I don't have for the podcasting stuff. I don't use a studio like you do. I work for a television production company, and we have some really nice gear. I mean, I've got a Bluebird and a Woodpecker, but I'm sitting on the shelf. But when I do the podcast, I started using the Snowball.
Yep.
And got in touch with their guys early on in the game, and they really didn't know much about podcasting at the time. And I like to think that I helped the guy that I connected with, who's one of their marketing people, learn a lot about podcasting, and they've been great. I just got my Yeti the other day.
Oh, you did? What? Who? Something? They supposed to have 2 Yetis out here for us for the
It'll
awards.
be there. They had a problem in customs, so it's
Oh
coming.
man, what's I bet you we work with the same guy.
Tyler.
Tyler. Yep, he's great, isn't he?
Yep. Yeah, Tyler's fantastic.
Yeah, he is. He's high energy.
He sent me a lot of stuff.
High energy dude.
No, absolutely. He's very busy these days too.
Yeah, he is.
But he sent a lot of stuff to us. We've given away product at various shows and things we've gone to, and they've been a great supporter of. They're the sole sponsor of the new podcast, Another Show, at anothershow.com.
Oh, cool.
And haven't even launched it yet. I mean, we've got 3 in the can. I interviewed Daisy Whitney, and who else have I done? Already, well, Don and Drew, obviously. And so just working my way through a lot of the people that kind of got started. That's one of the reasons I was trying to call you earlier. Is offline, I'll drop you an email.
Okay.
And I'd like to set up a time for you to be on the new podcast as well.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Hey, are the guys from PC Mac and Me in the house? If they are, calling in GNC Pod 2, and we'll get you guys rolling in here. Expecting those guys to dial in. I have not heard from them yet, and. Bruce is still in the house. Bruce was with us, did a segment a little earlier. It's been a pretty good conversation. It's picked up.
It's great.
And
Yeah,
just as long as the energy keeps going all night long, we'll be good.
I commend you for trying to do the 24 hours. I had the guys from the Totally Rad Show on my other podcast, and they were in the middle of their 24 hours of gaming to benefit. I know it's got. For you to sit there and do that, they had the luxury of gaming and wandering around their house to keep them awake. To try and sit here and keep the conversation going, I think would be a little harder.
Yeah, it's a challenge, and that's why we try to have people continuously in every 30 minutes or so, and I actually pick up the pace. But there's always this dead zone in the middle of the night. We go into like about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning here in Hawaii, and it gets a little bit slow. But my good friend from Computer America is going to be on at about 10 my time, and he carries me for 2 hours. He kind of
there you go.
Yeah, he drives more than, and it gives me a chance to like go get a shower, and so it'll be fun. So Carrie Holtzman.
While we're waiting on, do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions
Sure.
while we're waiting on
Sure.
people to join you?
Sure.
I just wonder where you think you've been involved in it for so long, and this is kind of what we talk about on the new podcast. Where do you think podcasts is headed in the next 15 years, 10 years? I see such a migration of old media to new media, and now new media becoming old media. It made me start talking to this about this with some people like Alec Lindsay and Daisy Whitney and Leo. And where do you think podcasting is going as far as replacing conventional media?
Well, we had a great segment. You'll have to go back. I'll go over it, but I had a great segment the first and second hour of the show that, man, really went into this in depth. But I'll just kind of relay to you my strategy, and it'll kind of outline where I think we're going. Right now, the video portion of my show is a like 0.00001% of my audio audience. So, in other words, my audio audience today that subscribes to my Geek News Central podcast is done twice weekly, runs between 125 and 150,000 listeners per show.
Sure.
The video portion of the show, I think the biggest, and again, we've just started pushing to YouTube. Maybe 100 viewers watch the full hour and 15 minutes, but I do an hour and 15 minutes, and that's really long for anybody to sit and watch any video. And because I record in Honolulu time, normally I get started about an hour from now recording the live show. There really isn't that live audience available on Ustream to build the buzz for the show. But what I started about a year ago is adding the video component just to figure it out. And Bruce will tell you, when you look at last year's 24-hour podcast stuff, we were running on fluorescent lights. We were running on not as good cameras. We didn't have a lot of the stuff that we have now. The Ohanosaurus back here, which was obviously a function of what Leo came up with, is what was copied from. That wasn't here. And so we've added all these additional video components to the show, and I'm learning the process to get the show published quickly. And here's the reason why. I think it follows along some of the same I think it follows along some of the same logic that Leo does. And of course, Leo's really pushing hard to build a television network himself, so he doesn't have to rely on millions of dollars of production costs. He has a TriCaster like I do, and really, I think what my thought is let me find my remote control. I don't even know where I put the doggone thing. So let's imagine this is a remote control. Until my neighbor can sit down at his couch, point the remote control at his TV, and watch Geek News Central on his tube, this thing is never going to go any further than being a niche. It's too hard for people to consume content. The audio portion is done. We've got the audio thing figured out. But I want, the audio audience to this show build me into their lives. They know the show comes out Thursday. They know it comes out Friday. They know that that when they're going to listen is the time frame to tune in, and they built me into their lives. The video portion is a completely different animal because people can listen to me anytime, but they really can't watch me anytime because it cuts into other stuff they're doing. So until we can get this content onto devices, and Sony's going to be coming out with an IP-based TV, Panasonic is, everyone's going to have a TV that's going to connect into your network and going to be IP aware. And as soon as it does, and they start adding programming, those that are creating content today better be ready, because those moguls are going to be looking to add everything they can find. The cable companies are going to be screaming mad if they start adding mainstream media stuff. So the Sonys and the Panasonics and JVCs and those corporations are going to be looking to fill that IPTV stuff with stuff that's good, that's on the internet, that they can fill. And so my goal with this show right now is in 2 years to have the show in a position where it is ready to make that jump. Now, maybe we don't have 2 years, but just same way with my strategy with when I started the show 5 years ago, my strategy was 2 years to profitability. It took me 9 months to get the show profitable where I was making the money. It took me 2 years to get to the point where I could do full time. So if I've worked it out, the numbers out right, it'll take me 2 years to get the video to the place it needs to be on a single man production level, because I don't want to keep costs down. Yeah, maybe if my kids help me, they'll add some production level. But once we get to the point where 150,000, 1 million people are listening to the show every episode, then I can afford to hire some people to bring in to do the additional stuff if the sponsorships stay there. But I build all this gear on the back of this show, pay my bills on the back of the show. Even though I'm the CEO of Raw Voice, I take no salary from Raw Voice. I take a director's stipend every month, which is a little bit of money, but it doesn't pay my house payment. Okay, so and then living in Hawaii, Bruce, the house payments can be considerable here. So my show's done all that, and plus building the studio. So I'm lucky in the fact that I've had a very loyal audience that's followed the show and continued to do things. And this is the reason why we do this 24-hour podcast. I'm grateful for the audience and grateful for the opportunity to be able to present the content the way I do and earn money, while at the same time I want to be able to give something back every year. And this is basically my deal every year, to give something back to the community. Plus we'll have a little bit of a education function by doing this type of content. So ultimately here, the show has to get to a point where the video has to get to a point where I think we can make that jump, and it's a high enough quality where a content reviewer is going to say, man, I want Geek News Central on my television show, or on my IPTV network. And
well, here's the question I have is, with what I do, and I've kind of modeled it after the NPR format. It's a long form interview, one podcast a week. The second podcast a week is more of a roundtable discussion. The new podcast is strictly audio. It'll be shorter. But, unless unless it's got really compelling video content, yes, if I listen to an episode of Twit or to your show where something unusual is going on,
yeah,
I'll go back and I'll watch the video.
Yeah.
But, it's like Larry King, I don't even, if I have Larry King on in the room,
Yep.
I don't really need to watch what's going on the television.
That's true.
So I wonder sometimes if Leo's, I mean, I understand where he's going with it, and I understand that he'll develop new shows, and there'll be compelling reasons to have video. But much of it is just radio, and it seems like people are rediscovering radio through podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I must admit, why would anyone watch me on this for an hour and 15 minutes twice a week? Well, the only way they're going to do that is if I keep, mixing it up and adding stuff in the show, stuff that they can see that's not me while the commentary is going on, the interactive stuff that will really...
Right, and I can see the value of doing it while you're live, too. I mean, that certainly makes it more fun, and the whole interactive aspect and the community involvement. And I do enjoy that if I'm sitting near my desk and can pull up you when you're live or Leo when he's live. It makes it different. But outside of that, I have the whole time shift in my advantage, taking the audio with me, and I can listen to it no matter where I am. I can do it driving, where I can't do that with video.
Okay, we've got, I don't know who we've got on line 2. I'm sorry. I looked over there and I was like, oh, someone's there. Who's on line 2?
This is Wilt with my Untitled Folder. I think we're a little bit early.
That's okay. You got a great background there, dude. Where are you at?
Oh, thanks. This is actually my company's retail store.
That's a great place to shoot.
My house, so.
It's what?
It's got a better internet connection than my house.
Oh, okay. What time? Where are you at? Are you in? What time zone are you on?
We're on the East Coast.
So you're up late in.
We're all on the East Coast. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But I actually have got a plate of food sitting here in front of me.
Good. It's very good.
Well, Todd, I'll let you go. I appreciate you dropping me in. I just wanted to say thanks for what you've been doing, and thanks again for the book. I mean, I wouldn't have started the Magic Newswire without you and Don and Drew and Leo. And it's the first time I've taken time to call in to thank you, and I would definitely just wanted to put a shout out there, and that's why I was calling him. I mean, I'm sitting in a parking lot where I could grab Wi-Fi on my iPhone to make that call.
It's awesome. It sounds really good. It really, really does. So
that's amazing.
It is. It is amazing. I'm pretty much blown away. I
will follow up with you.
Okay.
And we'll get together to do an interview, and I'll drop out so you can open up your other channel, somebody with a video.
Okay.
But thanks again for your encouragement early on through the book.
I will. Hey, I don't know what's happened with the talk shoe line. Let me look over there. Is anybody even in there anymore? And everyone's muted for some reason. So let me find out what's going on there. I just got to keep paying attention to that thing, because if I don't, then people just get discouraged and they blast out of there. So everyone, give me just a second here, and let me get that back online. There's too many widgets going on this side of the house. And my lovely wife has brought me in a beautiful plate of spaghetti, and I have really not ate in about I really not ate in about 13 hours. So you guys want to
do you mind if I answer a quick question from the chat room?
Yeah, go ahead.
Somebody was asking what happens if you go out sick. You need a true network of people to carry a new media network. Believe it or not, I've got a network of people, and they're all volunteers of people that started as fans of what I do. So I've got guys with Mikeys plugged into iPod Touches that go out to Magic conventions and record interviews, and they're sending me stuff all the time. I've got these other guys that have joined me on the round table that if I'm not there, they'll record it and do their own show, and none of us are making any money. It is still a niche podcast. I mean, obviously, you have to be into Magic for the Magic Newswire podcast to be of interest to you. AnotherShow.com will be of more general interest. But you can build a network without having the money. If you've got people with a common interest that want to participate in what you're doing, you can find people to work with you. So if you've got an idea, look for people with a common interest, and you can build a network and then you work on it together without it being a one-man show. I totally started out as a one-man show, just doing these interviews, and over time building the audience and building a loyal following and finding people with an interest in what I was talking about. You can build a network without having to pay people to do it.
And one thing that you can do, too, is you have to be careful in building a network. So if you're talking about building a network of shows, was the question? Was a network of shows or a network?
Somebody was just saying you couldn't do it by yourself. What about, what if you got sick? And I was just, I've got 3 shows now, and I do have a group of people with a common interest that will step in if I'm not available. And that was the whole idea, was finding people. Once I got popular enough that I realized it mattered if I didn't put a show out on time.
Well,
to find other people that would step in if I couldn't do it, or if one of them wasn't available, I had somebody to step into their shoes too. So I mean, it doesn't. You can think of a network as only one show, as far as I'm concerned. So if you've got one show, you've got a big enough audience, and you know people care about when it comes out, and you're worried about your reputation, there are people that'll be happy to help you with it. You just got to find people with a common interest whose reputation you respect and you know you can count on, and you can build a network on your own. So I don't know why you asked that question. I was thinking maybe somebody was feeling like they had an idea, and I just want to let them know you can do it. And there's people out there that want to work with you because everybody's interested in this area. Let me tell you, I've seen it grow so dramatically since I started in 2005. It's amazing.
You have to also understand that you're married to this. You're like the mailman.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I did a 2-year commitment when I first started my show to get it profitable in 2 years. And I committed I would do 2 shows a week for 2 years. And I did 2 shows a week for 2 years. Now, how many breaks have I taken in 5 years and 537 shows? I can probably count. Well, I took 10 days off when my dad was killed in an automobile accident. And I had no one step in that time, so the audience understood. Last year, I took a vacation, and I had 2 shows that weren't on during a vacation time. No, other people stood in to do them. And then on CES, I never do my shows during the week of CES. So all told, maybe 10, 15 shows I've missed in 5 years. But you know something? If I'm sick, I podcast. Being sick is not an excuse unless you are 107 degrees temperature and can't talk and can't walk. That's the way I feel about it. But that's, I've preached for 5 years consistency and being there.
Consistency is the main thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I
absolutely.
do my show
I've
15
put out,
minutes.
we've been doing it formally for almost a year and 9 months, and we've put out 178 formal shows, not including the smaller shows that contributed through our editors. Where we've got a couple of small, people will send us little diary kind of on the road, little video clips or audio clips. So you've got to, you got to do it because you love it, and hopefully the audience will come, and then you worry about making money. I've never started out to make any money doing this. I did it because it was something I wanted to do to fill a niche, but that doesn't mean you can't make money doing it, because obviously you've proven you can. So just do it because you love it, but you have to be committed, absolutely, or you're not going to make it. That is the hardest thing. You've got to know if you're going to build an audience, they have to be able to count on you.
Right.
And that is, you are marrying yourself to this once you get started and really plan on making something out of it.
And it's also it takes you a while to learn the trade.
Oh, absolutely. My first shows suck.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, they're terrible.
Yep. And doing my live event twice a week has made me a better content creator. I edit nothing. I break all the rules.
No, I hate editing.
I break all the rules. When it hits record, it gets recorded, and when it's done, I'm done.
Yep.
And it is what it is. And there's people that cringe. I don't take out the ums, hus, coughs, sneezes, sniffles. So
We've tried to reduce those in ours.
What's wrong with you?
I just and here's another thing too. I got 4 kids, 1 in Florida, 3 here. If I spent 4 hours editing, I'd be divorced.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work.
Ours are the same way. Ours are pretty much a conversation.
Yeah.
It is not. It's not a formal interview, and you've got to, because you need to you got to streamline that process, because until you're doing this for a living, this is a hobby, and you've got to do it because you love it. It is rewarding in so many ways, and I'm sure you've had the experience of having whoever the celebrity is in your field that you never thought you'd be on the phone with calling you because they've heard your show. I remember getting an email from Neil Patrick Harris saying he'd love to be on the show, and he's been on twice now.
Yeah.
Because he's involved in magic, and he liked what I was doing. Or you get a call from Matt King or Penn and Teller, guys I never thought I would sit down and talk to, even though I'd been at their shows, and now they're calling me and touching base with me about interviews or things I've done. It amazes. So it's rewarding on so many levels. But you've definitely got to find a way to make it work for you in your lifestyle, and you've definitely got to make a commitment to it if you really plan on staying in it for the long haul. And then long term, it will pay for itself if you really build the loyalty of your audience, but they've got to learn they can count on you.
Yeah, one thing that I found, though, is, we see the averages. We see the averages of how many podcasters make it and don't make it, and the attrition rate is really high, 60, 70%. Most shows never make it to show 7. because they figure out, man, this is hard work. Then, if they make it to 7, something happened. If they make it to 7, I actually got quieter. If they make it to 7, then they'll make it to maybe show 25. But if they make it beyond 25, they usually will make it. But the attrition rate below show 25 is huge, because you know what happens? We're an instant gratification society. People expect that they're going to get on, create content, and 100,000 people are going to listen tomorrow.
Right.
If I get a guy that says, hey, he calls me and says, hey, Todd, my numbers are, I don't care what the numbers is. Great.
Yeah.
You know, great. Good job. Keep moving forward. That number could be 300, 100, and he maybe have been at it for 3 months, but it just takes time. And you got to network and get your, people don't trust you until you hit show 25. Why should people build you into their lives until you've proven that you can put content out on a regular basis? I think that's part of it too.
Well, I think it's a credibility. I mean, you have to be willing to, and you can't, you have to listen to your audience, but you also have to keep doing what you believe in. You can't listen to, if you listen trying to please everybody that gives you feedback, you're not going to please anybody. You've got to go with your gut. But if everybody is saying it sucks, then you've got to change something. But if you're getting mixed reviews, you've got to look at what people are talking about. And I hear a lot of people get started, and they don't know where to turn in their feedback to really get pure feedback. It's a dangerous game trying to cater to the audience sometimes,
Well, I've talked about this story many times, and I'm eating between talking here.
I know, in between breaths.
Yeah, and we're about 3 minutes before we need to switch to the next segment, but it's not necessarily. Whoa! Something happened. Did we just go off?
Your video dropped out.
Yeah, something just crashed.
Yeah, the video died. The Ustream feed died.
All right, that sucks. That's the second time Firefox has crashed. We're gonna go back.
Crashing a lot
Oh,
lately.
it sucks.
I switched to Chrome.
Oh man, it just.
Safari, guys, Safari. Come on.
I use Safari, but only on my